All right, happy Friday, everybody. This is the 50th episode of Automation Hour. Thanks for joining us. If you are joining us for the first time, all lines are muted, and we're actually going to be using the Trailblazer Community Automation Hour to post our questions. And then if we don't get to it, we'll answer those after the fact. We will be posting the recording as well as the deck sometime after the session. And if you want to find out more about Automation Hour, we have a website, automationhour.com. We also have our Trailblazer Community Salesforce Automation Hour. And we have some great upcoming sessions. Again, go to automationhour.com to register for them. We have several MVP lined up as well as some community members. We will be starting to book out 2019 or early part of 2019. So if you do have a business use case with a cool automation solution that you would like to share with the community, please DM us and we'll reach out to you to get you scheduled in. And we can't do this without our sponsor. So a shout out to Concrete.io for sponsoring this free webinar series and allows us to share with the community. And all three of us were at Dreamforce, but unfortunately we didn't actually take a picture together. So this one was from last year's Dreamforce. And for those of you who stopped by and said hi to us, that was great. And with that, I am excited to announce our guest presenter today is Rita Leverett. I've interacted with her in various channels, Slack channels, and whatnot. And I'm very excited for her to share her process automation solution with everyone today. So with that, let me hand off control to Rita.
Thank you. Okay, let's see if I can do this right this time. Technology. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay. What do I need to do? That's not where I want to be. Where is my? Okay, I need my slide deck. Okay, it's going to be like that. All right. Oh, I don't know, for some reason I thought I was going to take yours. That's not what I wanted to do either. That's okay. So how is everybody today? You having a good day? I hope. That's the one. Yeah, okay, here we go. So what I wanted to show you today was how we came up with a solution for an custom auto number field. So what happened was the client started out with an auto number field to keep track of records based on a bid due date. But the thing is, they wanted to track the year of the bid due date and the division of the record owner and the record count. And once that field is set, it should never, ever change. And this was the format, a 2-digit year and a -E for estimate, which was okay to hard code. 1-digit division number based on the user division, and a 4-digit record count. So when they tried using the system generated auto number field, while it could keep the count, in all they could do was hard code this first part, but that's not what they wanted, because at best you would have to update the year field once a year. The division, there was no way to make that dynamic. So we had to come up with something different. And the final solution was to build a custom field that had different parts to it. So it wasn't actually an auto number field per se. It was a formula field. But some things about it were dynamic. So the first part is a field called short year. And it was a formula field based on the bid due date field, which is a date time field. And as always with formulas, we give a shout out to Steve Moe, because I'm sure I got this from him or someone who learned it from him, or on and on. So I took the bid due date time field and got the date value from it. And from that date value, I got the year, which is, for instance, 2018. And then I converted that to a text field. And from that text field, took the right to characters. So from 2018, I get 18, or 2019, you get 19. And then here it is, a little bit bigger for you. And the next thing we came up with for the division code, because division is a field on the user record, and it is a text field that has a city name. Well, at least in this case, it's a city. So we wanted to convert that into a digit, and using a formula field didn't work, because if it was based on the user, and let's say either the user transferred or the record went to a different owner, if there was a different division, that number would change. So we had to do something different with that. So, and this wasn't even the original solution. This is a solution to the solution, because now we're using custom metadata type field. So shout out to Jen Lee for this. So based on the user division, which we used Detroit, Grand Rapids, and Lansing, we assigned codes. So Detroit was 1, Grand Rapids was 5, and Lansing was 3, in no particular order. I just threw these together for this demonstration. And we'll see how the custom metadata works in a bit. So, and the last piece was the estimate count. So these are all the records for the particular year and division, so that each year and division combination had its own count, its own bucket, if you will. So we use a text field for the estimate count, and you might wonder why, since we're just doing a count, why not just use a number field? Well, we did it that way because of zero padding. This was very important, because if we just use a number field, we get this. So that didn't work out, snap. So we'll take care of this in the flow. And I'll show you that in a while. So we're going to put this all together and show you how to work with all these pieces, how we come up with these fields and make them nice and robust. So I'm going to do a demo, starting with our process builder. And I think most of you are familiar with how process builder works. So I have an opportunity process that I am going to use when the record is created or edited. And then we hit a decision. So I only want to create an estimate code for someone that needs it, only if the record doesn't have it. So our criteria was, if the estimate count is null, but the owner division is not null, so we have that division field available, and the bid due date time is also not null, so we have that field also to work with. So anytime the record is updated and it still doesn't meet this criteria, nothing's going to happen. So we want all these conditions to be met. Did I use any advanced? Did not. Okay. So we'll go to the next node, immediate actions. And all this process builder really does is check some criteria, and then when the criteria is met, it launches a flow called set estimate code. And we set up these flow variables so that we are pulling in the owner division of the opportunity, the short year that was based on the estimate, based on the bid due date, and the opportunity ID, which you always need if you're going to do something with your opportunity field, opportunity record. So let's take a look at the flow. Now, you must be calm before you see this, because it might make you pass out. This, it's just a bear. So brace yourselves. Elderly be warned, and move the children out of the room. There it is. That's it. All 4 nodes. So we'll go through these in detail, but basically, you're going to get that division code. Look up the opportunities that have the ID. No, you get, okay, we'll go through these. Okay, so get the division code. And this is the record lookup. So we're going to look for this custom metadata type that we saw before, user division code. And we're going to look for the label that equals the division name. And then we will save it in a variable, just call it div code. There it is. Okay. And I'm having trouble scrolling today, so I apologize. Okay, next node, we're going to do a fast lookup to get all the opportunities that are from this division code for this year, or whichever year. Whatever's in the short year, that's what we're going to look for. So obviously, we're not going after all the opportunities, and this was very important. So it created an S-object collection variable that will store opportunity records, and we're just saving these fields. We don't really need to store the whole, everything for what we need. After we do the lookup to get the opportunities, we're going to count the records that we got. And I don't know if you've used this new functionality before, but once upon a time, to do a count of the records that we retrieve in a collection variable, we had to do some things, create a variable to keep track of the count and do a loop to count each one and all kinds of mess. But now we have this wonderful operator called equals count, and all you have to do is create a variable just to store the count, and it will do it for you without loops or backflips or anything like that. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so we've gotten our count. But one thing I wanted to mention, that while if we were counting all the opportunities, we would be okay right now. But since we're only counting opportunities that have a certain criteria, the opportunity that we are working on does not have this criteria yet. So we have to add one to that count. And this is what we're doing here in this calculation. And remember that I mentioned that we needed 0 padding for our final estimate count field that we're going to use in the formula. So we're taking the record count that we just got, adding 1, making it into a text here, and then we are going to left pad it with 4 zeros. And we're calling it calc s count. So with that in mind, now we're going to do our record update. Since we have the ID of the opportunity record we want to work with, we'll just use a regular opportunity update, record update, and we're just going to use these fields. So earlier in the flow, we were able to capture the division code, and we're using this calculation that left padded our estimate count with 0 and incremented 1. So that's pretty much it. So let's see how that works. Oh, okay. There we go. All right. So I wanted to show you. Okay, so I created a list view that shows the estimate code, and it's ordered by estimate code. So you see there's one old one from 2016 and a bunch from 2018 and division code 5, division code 1. So let's just create an opportunity, but I like working with an account. So let's do a new opportunity. Oh God, why did I pick that long name? Oh, I can't. Okay. So you get to watch me type. I'm not that good at it. Transport. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, let's do something. Just to see. Let's do the close date and the bid due date different years. See what happens. Stage doesn't matter. Amount doesn't really matter. Can't think of any money right now. I don't know. Let's say December 14th, maybe the end of business day. Okay, I have no idea. Okay, so it says it was created. Let's see where it ended up, huh? What do they call it? Oh, here we go. Okay, so here we go. And remember, the bid due date was in 2019. I mean, the close date was 2019, but the bid due date was 2018. So it seemed to capture that okay. And just so you can see all these other fields, which you don't have to have in your page layout, but just to show you, you've got the estimate count, vision code, and the short year, and how we put them all together for the estimate code. Now, just for fun, I hope I did this right. What if we wanted to transfer this to somebody else? That's not what I'm going to do. Here we go. Change owner to, not that we have that many people. And Jennifer Lee, this was not after you. This was in a trailhead, so. So we're going to transfer this record. And if I did this right, Jennifer Manager was in a different division. Okay, she's in Detroit, which was in Division 1, I believe. So let's make sure that our record still has the same number. Yes, division code is still 5. Estimate code still. Don't pay attention to that estimate number. That was something else. Anyway, That's pretty much it. Oh, I could do one more thing. Now the Jennifer manager is the owner. What happens when she transfers somewhere? Let's send her to Lansing. We add a value for that. And just to make sure, oops, that's the wrong one. Sorry. Where's my da-da-da? Come on. There we go. Here. Make sure we're all refreshed. Oh man, I could use something nice cold to drink. Okay, and we're still, everything should be the same. And it is, even though she is now in Division 3, I think. Okay. Now I'm pretty much done. Are there any questions? Anything that anyone would like to see? I can go back over, show in detail, anything at all.
So while we give folks a couple of minutes to put something out there on the Trailblazer community. Dominic says, thank you for sharing your solution on today's webinar, Rita. Have you ever built out a similar solution but attach a random number instead of a count?
I have not tried that. I don't know if I would think that if formula allows random, and I don't know that it does. I mean, it would be the same kind of thing, but if random is not one of the formulas, one of the operators, functions, whatever, then you wouldn't be able to do it like this. So, but in theory, it would be the same thing.
Yeah, let's see if anybody else has. All right, we do have several. So Michelle asked, how do you decide the format of your estimate code?
Oh, that was not my decision. That was the client that wanted it in that format. So I just had to figure out a way to make it happen, which was it was just tricky to get that format. Well, the format itself is okay, but just the idea of, this part of it is fixed and some of it is based on that and another one's a count. I mean, it had a lot of things going on. So that's how I ended up doing a formula field at the end so that there were pieces that would go together and I could work with them the way I needed to work with them, like picking up the year or picking up the division code. Does that answer your question?
Let's see if Michelle says. Bruce asked, what if there is no division match? Or why not furnish division as a pick list on the user record?
Okay. These were, I I didn't mean to stutter so much, but the thing is, you're talking about redesigning, and nobody was interested in changing that, the user or anything like that. I was wondering why they wanted a number when they could have put numbers in the user division field, but that's not what the client wanted. So that's something to keep in mind. Sometimes you don't have any control over how things are designed. You just have to work with what's available. So, and then that's where I finally found a use for custom metadata type. I hadn't used it before, and I was trying to understand it, and it finally occurred to me that I could use it that way. So now, if they wanted to change what the numbers are, if they wanted to add a division, you just add it there in the in the custom metadata type. Just add a record to that, and won't have to touch the flow at all. It'll just pick it up. So that's a good thing.
All right. Mark asks, could this have been done with a slightly more complicated formula rather than several intermediate steps, or did I miss something?
Quite possibly. I didn't have a lot of time. I had tried a few things. The trick was to make sure that the record, that field didn't change once it was created. And there were some other things that we had built into this that I didn't put into this demo because I didn't want it to get too complicated to explain. But one of the things we did, they were using test records in production, which I didn't like. So they wanted a way to distinguish the test records so they didn't get included in the count. And we did a division code X, I think. And if it was division code X, then it would just not get included in the count. And I think we might have defaulted people to X if they weren't, if they didn't have a division, because I think they had some outside people. It's just all very, very interesting, but it was kind of beside the point. I was trying to make it how we can build a custom auto number field. So yes, there are a lot of things you can do with it, and I always say this is why God invented the developer edition and playground, so you can just go crazy and do whatever you want and don't ever have to worry about breaking it because it's just fun. So yeah, when you get an idea about something, you want to try something out, use your developer org or your sandbox, anything. Just try it out.
Okay. I'm going to give a couple of minutes for anybody else to ask questions. While we wait, how did you learn Process Builder and Flow? What resources did you use?
Oh, well, I'm old school. I started out with the back when they had what was it, platform, the Force.com workbook, I think, Force.com fundamentals, and then I got into Trailhead. I mean, those are the main things. I like the projects that they have, in addition to just the different modules, but trails are good. If you can start with something simple and progress. So I like trails because sometimes I just start with something because someone recommended it, a module, and it's over my head, and I realized I could have started with something simple. So if you can do some of the trails, I don't know if they specifically have automation. I think it might be like the beginning developer, maybe. I don't remember what they are, but there's some good things for process automation.
Cool.
What was it that helped you kind of understand the custom metadata, like when it clicked?
Oh, well, I wish I'd written it down because I was thinking someone's going to ask me that. Um, yeah, so I think I was in the flow itself, and oh, I know what it was. Okay, so originally in the process builder, I was using a formula to decide which uh, code the division name should get. So it was something like, if division name is Grand Rapids, then the code is 5. And if it's, back and forth, or maybe I even used the case if it was available, I can't remember. But as I was doing that, I was thinking, because I was working with a client and I just looked at custom metadata types for the client, and I was doing this and I thought, that's what it's for. So I hopped onto another screen and just created the custom metadata type and the user division name and the code. It just worked out so well. Unfortunately, I didn't realize that you couldn't use custom metadata types in Process Builder. So I had to move that logic into the flow because custom metadata types are accessible in flow. It's still well worth it. I like it.
Awesome.
One thing I wanted to mention about me, and someone was asking about flow resources. When I first started with flow, because I come from a developer background, I was writing things in Apex and then trying to figure out how it worked out in flow. Apex and I guess SQL queries. Now, I did a lot of SQL before, so I kind of started out with the code and then try to figure out how to work it declaratively. It was really backwards, but it was interesting.
Okay, Sarah had a question. I'm guessing this isn't possible, but can you use this custom auto number field solution for the record name field on a custom object?
A name field, it can't be a formula field, but it would have to be a text or an all number. So I was wondering, and it would be a required field. I was wondering if there was some way to pre-populate that, but if you're enlightening, I don't think so. I'm not sure. I don't. It would have to be a text field. I was thinking that in Lightning, just like let's see. I wanted to show something. Let's go back out. there's a way to autofill fields or pre-fill, and I'm wondering if you can do that. You might be able to. I wonder. I don't know if we want to do this right now, but it just made me wonder. I'm just starting to get, I wonder. If you added fields and then, I don't know.
So Sarah just noted it might be possible with a quick action predefined field. Good idea.
That's where I was going with that. A quick action. When I'm thinking, I have to. My mind starts at the beginning. This is where I first learned this, and this is where I went. And yeah, a quick action could probably do it, because then you can specify in this text field it should be this and this and this. So it might be your values of this field and that field and some other field. So that might work. That's very interesting. I like that. I like that idea. So try it out. Let us know.
All right, folks, last call for any other questions for Rita. And it doesn't necessarily need to be about her presentation. Just so you know, it could be a general process automation question as well. I'm just going to sit here and refresh a couple of times and see if anything else comes in. All right, I am not seeing any other questions. So rather than hold everybody else up, thanks so much, Rita, for coming on and presenting on Automation Hour. And we do have a couple back-to-back sessions. We normally do that every other week, but because of Dreamforce, we booked some additional sessions for the month of October. So we will be meeting again next week, and we'll have Randy Thompson on to present. So hopefully you'll join us for next week. And with that, we're going to end today's call. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.